I'm Jim Stanford, economist on Unifor staff. You know, they give everyone on staff one of these smartphones, right? The technology department is supposed to make us more efficient. The only problem is, of course, most of us don't actually know how it works. So we have to ask our kids. So I asked my kid the other day, I said, here, take my phone, please take my selfie. I said, here, take my selfie. And she rolled her eyes and said, Dad, you are such an idiot. And another thing, they've got secret codes. I don't know. The kids have secret codes that they use on these smartphones, right? Where they send secret messages to each other, like LOL, laugh out loud, PITR, parent in the room. That means stop talking about whatever you're talking about. Or this one, IDTS, I don't think so. So how do they use that? So you know, one would say, like, seriously, is that guy hot? And the other person says, IDTS, I don't think so. Okay, so that's how the code works. Sometimes I've seen another letter gets in there. It's IDFTS. So IDFTS, I don't know. Maybe somebody can explain that to me after. And I'm sure there's a French version. Je ne pense pas ça, perhaps. I don't know if the acronyms work in French or not. But I figured out we can use this secret code system that the young people have developed in this huge debate we're going to have over the next year about jobs and our whole economic strategy in Canada. Because, of course, Stephen Harper's big argument, his so-called trump card, is this claim that they are the best economic managers, that Canada is the best economy in the world, and we should just suck it up and vote for them. Well, we can use the secret code to defeat this argument. Is Canada's economy the best in the world? IDTS. Is Canada's labor market in great shape? IDTS. Is the Harper government the best economic manager? IDTS. So let's actually look at the numbers just for a minute. The government says there's 500,000 more jobs in Canada today than when they got their majority in May of 2011. And they try to claim credit for every one as if they control the whole process. They do control one part of the labor market, which is the jobs they create for people who work for the federal government. And they've actually cut over 30,000 of those. But all the other jobs created in the economy, they say, are thanks to them. Well, we didn't actually fall off the turnip truck yesterday, okay? There may be 500,000 more Canadians working today than there were in May 2011, but there are also 1.1 million more Canadians in the working age population than there were in May 2011. So compared to the number of people who can work and need to work, employment has clearly gone down under Harper, not up. If you measure the percentage of working age people who have a job, that's called the employment rate. When Harper was first elected in 2006, the employment rate was 62.4%. When he got his majority, it had already fallen to 61.9%. And then last month, after the private sector shed 115,000 jobs, as Ron just mentioned, the employment rate fell to 61.3%. There has been no improvement now in the employment rate from June 2009, the worst point of the recession, until today. Business has recovered, profits are at near record highs, and the Toronto Stock Exchange keeps setting record after record. But the labor market, get this, by that measure, the labor market is as weak today as in the worst moments of the last recession. And that, brothers and sisters, is why we desperately need a good jobs summit in Canada, and why I'm so glad that Unifor has taken this initiative. The reason it feels like a recession to so many of our members and their neighbors and their colleagues is because from the labor market's point of view, it still is a recession. So, has the Harper government saved our labor market? IDTS. There's more in the hard numbers. Trade. Stephen Harper is always talking about free trade deals with Europe, with Korea, with China. They ratified one with China yesterday that locks us in for 31 years, if you can believe that. Stephen Harper is the champion of trade, and it's going to help us out. Well, guess what? When the Harper government came to power, our exports from Canada were 36% of our GDP. Today, they're 31% of our GDP. When he came to power, we had an international surplus of $30 billion a year. Today, we have an international deficit of $60 billion a year. He's not creating trade. Despite all his rhetoric, he is destroying trade. Is Harper government good for our exports? IDTS. Business investment is another one. We need more business investment in technology and job creation and efficiency. And that, in theory, is why the government cut corporate taxes by 32%. 32%. A cut in corporate taxes since Harper was first elected, costing the federal government $15 billion a year. Other handouts and favors to business as well. Where is the payoff in business investment? When Harper came to power, businesses were investing 19.1% of GDP in new capital. Today, business is investing 19.1% of GDP in new capital. There is no payoff, none whatsoever, from $15 billion worth of tax cuts. All that's happened is companies in Canada are now sitting on $600 billion of idle cash that's going nowhere, that's just been drained from our economy. So is the Harper government good for investment? IDTS. And we could say the same about research and development, about productivity, about sustainability, about incomes, about labor force participation. In every single case, the hard numbers prove that Canada is worse off today than it was when the Harper government was elected. So here is my secret code reply to the big lie that conservative trickle-down economics is making us all better off. Are conservative policies working for Canada's economy? IDTS. In fact, on that one, I'm going to add the F. IDFTS. That's why we need a good job summit. We'll start to build a new economy the day after the next federal election. Thank you very much.